Welcome back to the special rum episode of Whiskey House Pub House. We're here on part 2. Thank you for joining us.
I like to think that this is like a part 2 of question mark, you know? Like, when we're recording these, we have no idea how long these are going to take. So, like, we're like, welcome back to the final episode. Can't say that, ever.
No.
You can never say final episode.
The
say
bourbon
part
ones
one,
took
part
us four
two.
parts
Yep.
to finish.
Yep. That happens sometimes.
And then Dylan, when he's editing, he could just throw in like part 3. It'll just
I
be
did that
Dylan's
once.
voice.
Yep.
I did do that once.
It's good
But
intentions.
It is good intentions. We are resuming our rum tasting. Last episode, we had a Balcones Texas rum, followed by a 8-year Dorley's, followed by a 12-year Appleton Estate. Now we have a couple more to try. So, Shamian, would you like to introduce the next one?
Yeah, so again, we had that Balcones from the south. So we're going to head north. Homeland.
Homeland.
Yeah, so
Where's
this-
Homeland?
North Jamaica.
Minnesota.
Florida.
I was surprised to see on the shelf, like 3 or 4 Minnesota rums.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see those a few months back. And now all of a sudden they're just here. And didn't do a lot of reading into these. But I got to say, I bought this one because of the bottle. I'm going to be that guy. But also, just reading the back of the label compared to the others, this one felt, again, truest to what they're trying to do, trying to keep like the rum without all the additives, etc. Interestingly enough, this one, again, is distilled through the 10-plate column.
Okay.
But this is Loon Man rum.
Loon Man.
Super creepy looking Loon Man.
Yeah.
Do they make a bourbon or a whiskey or anything like that?
Loon Man?
There's a label on there, by the way, that shows other.
If this is the
things.
company I'm thinking of, which I have no idea is, Carter bought Loonshine,
Mm-hmm.
and that it was also a Minnesota product. We haven't had that on the podcast yet.
Okay. But yeah, Loon Man. Sorry, I didn't read the label to see where they're from, but they do import their cane sugars and molasses and other things from, as they put it on the label, reputable South American companies.
Places, yeah. I mean, I don't think I'd want a Minnesota grown sugarcane because it's gonna be hardy like a grain, you know. It's
Right.
It's
Tastes
gonna
like wild rice.
Yeah, this sugar tastes tart.
Potato rum.
Tastes dirty.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is, it's clear, and I'm very interested in this because I guess the only other clear ones that I have, I mix.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just messes with your brain, because you're
yeah.
like, where's the caramel and stuff?
Yeah, where's the
But
coloring? It's
Yeah.
like, well, it
like-
doesn't
I like
have
it without
coloring.
the coloring,
Yeah.
Anytime you see a clear rum, it's
We're gonna have cork pop in here.
Ooh, that
Yay.
thing was.
Yeah.
I think it was on there.
That pitch was pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Loon Man is ready to ship that to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So you've heard of Loon Man then?
No, I
You had
just,
a soundtrack. What was that?
Spoon Man.
Oh, okay. See, I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
You guys were a little off key, but
Oh, yeah.
well,
but yeah,
of course.
Spoon Man. By the way, love that song because of the spoons that you just have to
I was gonna
kinda
say,
listen
get
to.
some
spoon solo.
So I think of your forks and your spoons earlier.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that
Maybe
came to my
messy.
mind was like Spoon Man. I'm like,
Yep.
so it's awesome.
Always comes full circle.
We'll have to check out the bottle and see if this is related to Carter's Loonshine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
Autumn, if you could grab also the little cardboard thing that was on the top. I believe it shows the rest of what they make there at Loon Man.
It smells like a new whiskey.
Oh,
It smells like new
it's like
make.
moonshiny,
Alright.
New whiskey.
little moonshiny maybe.
All right.
But yeah, again, just kind of interesting that Minnesota rum.
Yep.
So it is going to be, it's going to be neat to see where this goes in the next couple of years.
It smells
for sure.
very, very caramely.
Yeah.
Really.
Very caramely.
I'm happy that they're doing, instead of like a vodka or a gin, which is of course nothing wrong with those, but like if you're aging your whiskey and you're trying to get product out, make money, there's so many people doing vodka and gins
Yeah.
that it's just become the norm, it's kind of cool to see a rum. Somebody doing a rum. That's
For sure.
it is more expensive, but it's way
Yeah.
more interesting.
Northfield,
Northfield.
Minnesota,
Huh.
which I would not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
I've
think of
traveled as a
loons when I think of
child.
Northfield.
No.
I think, right? I think of Jesse James. I think of like South Minnesota, not loons, but didn't know there was a distillery down there.
Where's
I
the
What's the alcohol percentage on that bottle?
believe it's 40 actually.
Is that just 40?
Yeah.
And what was
Where's
it?
the malto meal? The cereal. Isn't that down-
Northfield.
Yeah, it's
Northfield,
down
yeah.
in Northfield.
Does it have age too? Did we talk about age on this thing yet?
It's probably
new.
it's probably
Right, okay,
off-brand
okay, yeah.
Captain Crunch made into a liquor.
Boy, that nose vanilla's
That is
like
so
crazy.
Intense
so
butter.
sweet.
Intense butter.
Right, right.
What's
Wow.
intense diacetyl?
So this was organic. It's got the USDA organic logo on it.
Yep.
Wow.
40%. Our Loon Man rum is lovingly produced from organic, evaporated cane juice and molasses from the trusted Southern America partners. We ferment and distill all of our spirits in-house. This genuine craft rum is run twice through our pot still, and once distilled through our 10-plate column still before being proofed down. This process creates a beautifully round, warm, slightly sweet rum with a nose of tropical fruits and cream blooms. A medium body carries notes of mineral-rich caramel, coconut, into a dry finish of apples, butters, and vanilla.
They proof it down, huh? That's
Well,
interesting.
From the still proof
Okay.
to
That's
the
what they mean.
bottling proof.
I see. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that is a very sweet smell. That's
Who is Charles Angus Loonman?
Oh, it's a name.
So what would
Okay.
what would this taste like if you put it in a barrel for about 10 years?
Right. Fun to think about. Don't know though. Hopefully they're
Start
doing
now.
it. Yeah.
Do it right now.
I've heard a lot of reports that the flavor that the barrel contributes is anywhere from 60 to 80%.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not. It's good. It's pleasant for about 2 seconds, and then it's nothing. You know, it's just gone. So
That's wild.
Which is too
It
bad.
is wild how it drops off, but
Yeah.
there's something there.
Well, it's just to make you keep drinking it,
it's just designed this
chasing
way.
that flavor.
It really reminds me of the Stillhouse whiskey.
It is unaged, freshly distilled
Yep.
alcohol.
In a tin can.
Mel mentions that it smells like the Shasta cream soda.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like A&W cream soda, something
Yeah.
like
It
Yep.
does.
Cream soda.
For
Must
sure.
be some sort of
Totally.
partnership there.
So if you could carbonate this.
Carbonize.
we need to carbonize.
But it smells a lot funner than
It tastes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it tastes okay, and then it's
Yeah.
it's gone.
But that smell is like.
yeah,
it
the
smacks you
smell
in the
is
face.
amazing. Yeah, it's consistent.
Yeah. This is one with like it's packed full of potential. I can't say I enjoy it at the present. You know, like I just don't.
Well,
This isn't doing anything for me.
Yeah, I bought it purely out of just going
Yeah, like, wow.
Minnesota rum, huh?
Yeah, local.
Let's give it a
Yeah.
shot.
I mean, I love that they're using authentic ingredients. You know, and USDA organic is not necessarily an easy thing to attain.
Well,
True,
it's
yeah.
uncommon.
It's
You
uncommon
don't see a lot
because
of
you
organic
because you don't
spirits.
need it to
No.
make anything. It's just like, oh, that's kind of nice. They're using essentially
Well, because
things that have been statutized and generally agreed upon as safe.
yeah, well, it's strange because the whole process of distilling
Removes
feels
impurities.
like
Yeah.
it would negate the need
Yeah.
for specifying organic.
Right, because it's not fair
ingredients.
trade organic. It's just
Still
USDA.
Well,
Minnesota.
Yeah.
fair trade would just be the sale of it.
right. Yeah,
It's not a
I'm saying that fair trade is something you'd put on this because that would make it sound like more ethical. Like these are ethical ingredients. These are
right. Especially with cane sugar being
yeah,
previously connected to slaves and
Yeah.
the process of all that.
yeah.
Yeah, again, another interesting one that's like not a
it's not
neat,
like ginger.
but let's see what we can do with it. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Oh,
This is batch 5, by the way.
I
don't know if
gotta
said
lime
that.
this.
Yeah, batch 5. Yeah, that's I hit it with the
You lime it. I'm gonna
Well,
pineapple.
the lime would be really good on this,
you know.
actually.
Yeah, I think so too. Like a little lime, maybe a little just club soda.
Here's the thing I'll say is this is automatically for me just probably going to be lower on the list just because it's not aged, right? It's simpler.
Sure.
But it's not because it's bad spirit.
Right.
It's just a few steps removed.
Yeah,
But-
okay. I want to know the price of this because
it'd be a good mixer in something.
yeah,
good
I,
mixer
I'm,
on
I was just
something.
gonna say I want to know the price of this because you could almost use this as a replacement for triple sec and make margaritas or really. And it's not because it's not an orange. Well, because it's not orange liqueur, but it kind of has a smooth, fruity, zesty. You know, it's the makings of. Because with that lime,
What about an orange
so
Julius
it's
margarita?
like lime and salt in this is like 80% of a margarita. Seriously.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
I would say.
What do you got? Oh, sorry, honey. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say with the scent, you know, I mean, you could put it into a essential oil diffuser and get something out of it. But I want some
Or a
taste in my
sauna.
rum, so
Yeah,
that would
sauna.
save
That's-
so much money in this
yeah,
household.
that's totally true though.
That's a top tip.
No, that's super true.
We should try it.
Yeah.
We should try it. It's like that time that we made tea with Jack Daniel.
Yeah, with
rye.
Jack Daniels.
I will say, as my wife sits across the room here, I did come down just before you arrived with the lavender
I can
essential
smell
oil
it.
and just
Yep.
kind of.
Spritz.
Yeah, I want everybody to be calm.
We
Yeah.
had an incense going. Somebody put it out though.
We got more. We could fire it up.
Was it sandalwood?
I heard we're having tiki drinks after this.
Okay, so what are we thinking ratings though?
Yep.
I mean, again, it's such a. It feels
I'm gonna
preteen.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Feel
give
like-
sad
I'm
about
gonna
it,
give it
yeah.
the brutal. I'm gonna give it
Like-
the brutal rating of a 3 out of 10. It's fine.
That's the
you know.
you
it's
did good for
yeah.
what you
for what you are.
your capability.
Yeah.
I would say 3.5, 4, just because it smells so dang good.
Yeah.
But it's also disappointing because it smells so dang good, and then it just doesn't carry that through. So I don't know, 3.5.
I would agree. You know, I think it starts off strongly, but that disappointing finish almost leaves you with a sour note in your mouth, where it's just
Yeah.
like I wanted so much more. So yeah, I would. I still want to give it like a 4, you know, just because it's like I really like that beginning, and just being able to enjoy the scent of it.
Yep. You're
but-
Minnesota nice, so you got to support the Minnesota rum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Better than Wisconsin rum, right?
Yeah.
forget
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
Stink of
Which is called
Wisconsin.
beer.
Yeah.
You know, I would say 3. I want to say 3, but you know, and I also think it has possibilities for uses in other things. It has a nice flavor to it, a nice body to it. It is disappointing by itself, but I think you can do a lot with it. So I would say a 4.
I am surprised how similar this tastes to certain new makes, being whiskey. This is very good, I think, for a start, like a base, jumping off point, if that's what they choose to do. And I've never been a big fan of, well, especially unaged rum.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for this, this is quite good. But I probably also do a 3.5 or a 4. It's just not. I'm not going to sip on this, and that's what I want. Is I want something to pour in a glass and sip on, and do something else. But this is not purposed for that.
Yeah, I agree. And that was also something I kind of felt when I purchased it. I'm like, we're gonna sip on all these other ones, and this just, I don't know, the label, everything about it. I was like, this is a mixing rum. But again, I am curious to see where they go with this. I want to do some research to know how long they've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it before. I'm going to guess it's fairly new. I don't know is there a year on there, a start year or anything like that? Or even Loon Man in general?
Not that I can find.
Okay.
Um,
But I'll go with Nick on this one. Like, the smell was, I was excited. It's as if I was a young man again. And I was at a grad party, and you see a beautiful girl, and you have a great time dancing and talking, and then she gives you your number, and it's not her number. That's what that felt like.
I've never had that
amazing.
experience.
You're
actually.
like, man, remember dancing to Fat Boy Slim the other night? And
They're like, who are you?
yeah, and then you go home and you call her the next day and it's
Yep.
not her, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
And it-
what that felt
Yeah,
like.
and it was
I
Melody's number. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird.
But yeah. So I'm hopeful that again, as Hunter noted earlier, like the nose can bring about some things. It can come back. So maybe this needs just a little bit more, I don't know, oxygen,
You know what it needs?
the right daiquiri mix,
Yes.
something, right?
Needs
It
some
could be
Coke.
fun. Need some Coke.
Need some Coke. You are Matt's son.
Good Coca-Cola
You are your
in
dad's
there.
son.
It's not a rum and coke.
this is distilled 3 times. If I,
Yeah.
So it kind of
So-
kills.
So
it would kill flavor, I would imagine. You know, because
So then, how do they get that smell? What do they?
I'm imagining all that's just because
Throwing that
here's the
in
thing:
there at
is
the
to
end,
me
or-
that doesn't smell like a rum or
No.
anything I associate. Rum.
Right.
That smells like a new make whiskey or a corn whiskey,
Yeah.
and obviously there's no corn in it, so I'm contributing that all to this is just unaged new make spirit
Yep.
that's been distilled a few times. So
It's metal. it's residual metal from the stills.
smells like
It
Smells
smells
like
like
butter.
caramel and
Yep.
vanilla.
Exactly.
awesome. Okay, so we're gonna get on the plane again.
And fly too.
We're getting out of Minnesota for sure.
phew.
We're going to Guyana.
Whoa!
Where is that? I don't
It's
even
like-
know where that is.
It's like a hop, skip, and a jump away from Minnesota.
Maloha.
Is that South America?
Aloha.
Hunter, Google it.
Where's
Google it.
Guyana?
I think it's. I want to say
Oh,
it's
is
next.
it?
It's next to
Okay,
Suriname.
Google.
I think it's next to Suriname.
Yeah.
Where's Guyana?
I don't
I've
know.
heard of Guyana.
South America.
Okay.
Isn't it sort of in the area of Colombia and Venezuela?
Colombia.
Right?
No, it's in South America.
no. I mean, it's east of
No,
it's east
no,
of
no.
Colombia though.
If only
Right?
we
Just
had a
east-
device.
If only. Yeah, it's in between Venezuela and Suriname.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
so it's part of Latin America, not South
Guyana
America.
is known for language, people,
no, it's
and
South
oil.
America.
No, it's
It is
South America.
Okay, it is
Language,
South America.
people, and oil.
It's that's what Google says. It says known for language, people, and oil discovery.
Ah, yes, the
All right.
language people.
Well, I'm just gonna. There's a couple just quick sentences here. This is El Dorado, age 12 years.
El God dang
Okay.
Dorado.
The Demerara region, which again we can maybe zoom in on that map, see exactly what that's all about. But has established a reputation over the last 300 years for producing the best rums in the world.
Wow.
300 years? That's kind of crazy.
So, Shameen, I do have to ask you: is it from Guyana or French Guyana?
Product of Guyana. Guyana.
They're right there next to each other.
But Suriname's in the middle. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
El Dorado, as in the man of gold.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the Demerara region is pretty much northeast, tiny little province. It's connected to the ocean, so it's.
Okay.
I don't know if the where they distilled it is on the ocean,
Right.
but I mean it's like 10 towns of territory.
Is it next to Fordville
It's
in the
it's-
Amazon?
That's Brazil.
It is east
Yep.
of Venezuela.
I was like, dang. Dylan's got the geography going on
Fordville.
here.
It's
Yep.
in
Uh,
Africa.
It also mentions that
That's Ghana, Matt.
this
Ghana.
particular rum. this,
They're
pa-
known for their rum in Ghana.
There we go.
this particular rum has been laid down in oak barrels for at least 12 years.
Cool.
And I'm not going to read the rest because it gets into some flavor country.
What if you're
But it's in a box.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's our
it's
first
in a
boxed
box.
rum. Woo!
Boxed rum.
So I don't even know what color this is. Right?
Yeah.
It's
I'm
red.
excited.
Oh.
You can't tell because it's in a dark bottle.
Yeah.
That's a cool bottle.
I love
It's
that.
just a really dark
Oh
rum.
man.
It's like coffee.
Reminds me of a Glen Farkless bottle, but it's even more stouty.
I was gonna say Redbreast.
Or Redbreast. Yeah, you're totally right.
Take a gander if you'd like. It's a pretty beefy bottle.
Mm-hmm.
But that looks fun. This actually, for very Glenmorangie type design on this.
Yeah.
Like it feels
El Dorado.
El Dorado with the pirate ship.
I love it.
Like that.
Or if that's real gold.
Yeah, you should start scraping it.
I heard the Spanish traded rum for blankets.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Guyana's right in that Caribbean area. Right? You know?
This is also
A
going
little
to be
south,
40%.
a little south, but we're still there.
40%?
We're still in
Yeah.
the region.
Yeah.
So, which I didn't notice. The only one that really I looked at for a percentage wise was that Dorley. These other ones I didn't even.
Why the Dorley? Did you look at the percentage?
Because there's a 12-year, and it's like $5 more, and I was like, let's try the 8, and I was actually gonna go with the 8 and the 12, and just compare them, but yeah, I don't know. I was just timing,
Timing.
maybe. But yeah, I do know though that these other ones here, a little bit more.
Real quick,
Alright,
there's going to
I'm
be a
gonna do a
whisk.
cork
there's gonna be
pop right
Yep.
I gotta pull the.
It was making me worried. It was just twist top.
Yeah, stuck
I-
on there.
The
Do you
The
think our
seal on it
ASMR
was-
folks just wait around on the podcast until the cork pops?
Usually.
So we have to make like an end of year cork pop compilation, and then we'll auto tune it, or we'll tune it to like songs that were popular.
I
that
can
year.
help
Pirates of the Caribbean
Simpsons.
Yeah.
songs.
Oh my goodness.
I'll help you find the key that it's in when it pops.
Yep. You're the next Charlie Puth,
Yeah.
but for
cork pop
Cork
key
pops.
chart.
He is a talented artist.
he is.
Oh man, look
I
how dark
adore
that
him.
is.
Wow.
That's kind
So
of
it's not just the glass.
Yeah.
I
I
do
was
wanna-
wondering if it was a clear rum in a dark bottle.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
I do want to make a quick note that we are getting the first sense, me and Matt, because my wife is handing out the rums. And
Yes.
she's being a little bit biased.
Yeah,
that's
so I apologize.
favoritism if
Yeah.
I've
It is.
ever seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And I'm not the best at pointing out notes, so
You need more time.
Yeah. It gives you a second. So really, I should be getting one early. 'Cause I have no idea what's going on.
Nick spent a good year in
Sniffing this thing.
Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
the home of rum.
Yeah.
It's-
Well,
it's-
Oh,
I
yeah.
almost got to tour Bacardi distillery, but they were closed, so I didn't.
It's like when SpongeBob is writing his written test or his written essay for the road driving class.
Yeah.
And after the whole day, he just wrote the.
super fancy.
And that was him
fancy
trying to get notes for certain rums.
Yes.
It's just.
This
It's
reminds me
good.
of
I will
Balcones
say
a little
Puerto
bit.
Rico is
Really?
not the place to buy booze. Like
Just the
I
initial
don't-
sense.
Really?
There is nothing.
What?
There's no selection anywhere.
So Nick,
How is that possible?
So if you want authentic Puerto Rican, you want mountain hooch, essentially. So there's
Quite
guys.
a bit of rums that come out of Puerto Rico, so I'm curious.
There
like,
there are, but there's not like you got at least. Unless there's like a specific place you go to that I do not
That's
know
kind
about.
of how it works.
Well,
Nick.
no, I know, but there's not like liquor stores like there are here.
there's nothing
Okay.
here in this 5 mile
It's all
radius.
like sections in the grocery stores.
What do you want to go visit the distillery? That's crazy.
Well, I should say my opinion is, or my experience is a little flawed because it was all COVID stuff when I was down there, so everything was shut down. So all the special like
did
established
you bring
places
COVID
you
to
would go
Puerto Rico?
I did. I was actually patient zero for Puerto Rico.
Thank you, Mel.
But from what I heard, the most authentic spirit you could get from Puerto Rico was you go up in the mountains and find a guy on the street who'd be willing to sell you
as you do.
his moonshine rum,
Wow.
and they would sell it to you in like a liter Pepsi bottle,
That's the best value.
and they'd shove fruit in it, and that's what they would give you.
They shove fruit in
yeah,
it.
so it's
so it's a roadie.
yeah. So it's full of fruit to
What's
like
the
flavor
prison drink they make? What's
Oh,
that called?
Pruno,
Fruit.
prison wine.
Because they use the mashed up fruit and they ferment it.
Yeah, it's like all the orange slices and the ketchup and put in
Oh.
Ziploc bags. Anything with sugar in it. So coffee creamer, the powdered coffee creamer,
That does
ketchup.
your story does make me want to ask for a mezcal episode.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a whole nother world.
Yes, that's another one. We'll come back.
Yes.
We'll come back.
Because I got stories from Mexico on that one.
Oh yeah.
So Hunter mentioned that this one kind of smells like the Balcones one a little bit. I kind of get it tastes a little more oaky because the 12-year age statement. I have a hard time kind of seeing past like a little bit of oak and then like a gasoline kind of smell for me.
Gasolina.
Yeah, for the scent.
Yeah, there's
Isn't
something there in
Guyana
this
an
scent.
oil place?
Huh?
Oil place.
Yeah.
You said Guyana was known for oil refineries.
It
weren't
was.
they?
Yes.
Yep. There you go.
What is that
BP.
smell? That is something. There's something there. I can't even.
There's brown sugar, vanilla.
Petroleum.
So I get sulfur.
Yeah. I'm getting.
It's not sulfur.
It's not sulfur. It's like
potassium.
Refined. Yeah.
It's uranium.
Uranium, iodine.
Yeah.
To me,
funky
it is
enough.
very. It
glows
it
blue.
does smell very sweet. But like a gasoline sweet. You know, it's something.
You know, people like smelling gasoline.
I love
so
smelling
it's-
gasoline.
I have
to
heard
be
that.
honest, I get lots of endorphins and dopamine when I'm at the gas station. You just plug it right in and you just
Sniff the
that
end of the
big
wand.
whiff.
But
You
not
wanna
the
plug that-
I think you're
E85, right?
right in your
misreading
mouth.
the signals that gasoline.
You want
is
the
sending.
premium?
What's that?
Just shove it right in your mouth and
Yeah,
just
just-
start pouring gasoline. You know, that's what this is like.
No, but seriously, I do.
Suckle straight from the nozzle.
I do like the smell of gas.
The one they what is that? The one that's only made for 4-wheelers and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
the-
the ethanol free.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, you make sure you get the ethanol free
or
stuff because that's not.
or non-oxy.
or it's like the cherry diesel. Cherry diesel is
Yeah.
good too.
Well, that's just
Cherry diesel.
Oh,
yeah,
well, it's
the
not-
off-road
it-
diesels dyed red.
no. That's I mean, you can use it for off-road use, but that's just
Well, they call-
it's subsidized. That's all it is. It's just a government subsidized diesel.
Well, it's for farms or
Right, but
off-road
it's
use.
the same diesel though. It's only
Right,
dyed so
right,
I can
no,
tell.
but they
it's-
call
so
it.
No, it's
That's the
not
joke.
taxed.
That's the joke,
Right.
Zach.
Who's
Yeah.
tasted
cherry
it?
diesel?
Who's tasted
Yeah.
it?
Who's
You know,
tasted?
it
Like,
tastes-
'cause
it
what the heck?
tastes A little bit like the stuff I used to clean the leather seats on the truck.
Leather seat cleaner, we say.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's there's a name.
It
There's
goes
there's
back to the
brand.
light.
Armor All.
Okay. It goes back to the light, but tell me about
Alex would say something like rum. It gets hints of rum cake.
it. What do you got
I
over there,
love
Hunter?
rum cake.
I actually kind of like it. But
Yeah. What do you got, Hunter?
Me?
Yeah.
Rating wise,
No.
Flavor-
just
flavor
tell me what
notes.
you're
Flavor
tasting. man.
Flavor notes.
I think I said that. You know, it's I don't know. It's reminding me of the first one, the Balcones, a lot, and I just am not big on that flavor profile. Like with Balcones, right? I got the same type of profile as like one of their bourbons a little bit, and I like that. I like that in a bourbon. I
Yeah.
like bourbon in general, but when I buy a rum, I want to buy a rum, and I'm not getting that note of sweetness in it. Not that I don't like it, but it just for a rum, I need to rate it a little bit lower. I feel like.
That's fair.
It helps if you eat a piece of pineapple. I
Does
think it gets the sweetness back in there. You know,
I might try that.
it is definitely
Hand me
not
one of those
like
too,
a.
Hunter, maybe.
It's not like a. A true like flavor.
The cripple needs service.
I'm trying to be careful.
I'm gonna say that like this actually when I smell this, I smell one of our tiki drinks. There's definitely vanilla, a little nutmeg, something in there, but it feels like again complexity. But I agree with Hunter that again that's where that lies. It's got a good foundation, but all of a sudden like again very drinkable,
Yeah.
very sippable, and it's like you don't feel that alcohol at all.
Yeah, I absolutely
crazy.
adore this one. This
Yeah.
is my favorite one
Do you really?
for real.
Really?
Because it has a little bit of peppercorn in there. It's got a little bit of like especially with the lime, the acidity creates a tartness in there, and it really just like it puckers the tongue, and I love that. It's so the way it just manipulates your mouth into making it taste even better when you suck your cheeks in and your tongue kind of it pulls back, and it's like, wow, this is really exciting. it's a reactionary drink that's super pleasant, super gentle, and super flavorful. And then it smells like the Balcones with the oakiness too. So this is my all-rounder favorite one.
I'm curious to see what Hunter says after me, but we just tried pineapple and sipped it. Completely, with the pineapple being so sweet, it brought out a ton of creamy and vanilla and a little bit of baking spice flavors, and it was interesting. It was nice, but yeah, that's what it brought out. It pushed back the sweetness because Ben
Gets overpowered.
Yep, you've been overpowered to it, so it brings out all the vanilla and other stuff. But
Yeah, I was gonna say when I put the pineapple with it, it almost tasted like a cake. A little bit, you know,
Like a rum cake.
Yeah, like a rum cake. No,
love
but
rum
like
cake.
you're saying, you know, you got the baking spices and then the vanilla, and it just kind of it livened it up a bunch. But if I'm gonna rate it by itself, it's, you know, I can't include the pineapple, but it was really good with the pineapple.
pineapple is a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah, without the pineapple, it's not awesome. But with the pineapple, it completely changes the flavor. So
I like this one because it's kind of peppery. It's got like I don't want to say this is the only way I can contrast it, but I'd say it has like some whiskey qualities because that's the only thing I have experience drinking. But like I like the pepperiness, and then I did like how it reacted with the pineapple. Cool. But again, that's its own thing.
Yeah, but without the pineapple, what'd you think?
I still like it standalone.
Yeah, me too.
It's got a little
too.
bit of sweetness. It's not too much, but I like that kind of peppery bite it's got on the end.
All right. Well, unless Jamie's got something else, let's just go straight to the rating system on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can start. Yep. I think if I like integers, so I don't usually do half points. So I'll just keep it. I'm actually gonna keep it a 7. So same as the Appleton, just because the Appleton smelled even better, but didn't taste as good. This one tastes better than it smells. So for that reason, I want to give it a 7.5, but really it's a 7 still, which is I think it's great. That's all there is to it.
I don't think I've even given a 7 yet, so that's what I would lean to. Just to mess with Zach and giving integers, I'm going to give it a 7.5. Not a 7.5 though. 7 and 1 over 2. 7.5.
Integers disgust me, so I need to.
Okay.
Fine, we're doing rating systems of 100.
No,
Oh no!
I keep relating it to the
75 and a
Balcones,
half.
and I can't because
7
I've talked about it
4/8.
so much. I need to do a 5 out of 10 because that's why I gave the Balcones. I keep relating it to it, and
Yeah, it's too similar to it. Yeah.
It's not fair to like change my rating based off that.
But you've
'cause
already
it's
done
just-
that earlier.
Well, yeah, because but like the Balcones is a solid 5, and I would give this one a solid 5.
It's a solid 5.
Solid 5.
Love that. That's good.
you know, I agree. I mean, this is not my favorite. This is not my least favorite. I'd say a 5.
This is not as good to me personally on that as is the Appleton. So I'd give it a probably like a 5.5, 6.
Nice. I'm actually kind of surprised with your reaction on this one, Matt, because to me it is colorful, it's flavorful. It goes back to the original kind of rums in a sense. But
You know what? It's because this one tastes too much like cola. It already tastes like you can't add Coke to this because it has a
kinda
little bit of
does.
cola vibe to it. You
it
can't
does-
add more Coke.
it leans into that. And but I would agree with you, Zach, that very much like the Appleton, I actually am. I think I would be intrigued a little more if it did have a more of a proof. You know, because it was so colorful and it had just a lot going on. It'd be kind of interesting to see what that would look like.
I agree. I think that's a biggest drawback of this one is just it's on the floor. You can tell it could use a little bit more.
It needs a little elevation.
Yeah.
Something to really just
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think,
they're up there.
and that Appleton, it's got that funk, but then it also has that extra 3%,
Yep.
which I think really carries it for me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I would
sure.
agree.
Right on. Well, we have a story with this next one. On the box, anyways. There was 2 boxes, and I leaned into this one because I glanced at the first sentence, and I was like, okay, I'll take that one. This is St. Lucia. St. Lucia? St. Lucia? Distillers?
Lucia. I made it up.
St. Lucia. St.
Lucia.
Lucia.
Lucia. Okay.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to Google that one, I believe it's in the Caribbean. Yeah.
It's a small island in the Caribbean.
Yeah, part of the is that the Apostle Islands? What is that?
It's right by. I think it's by Trinidad and Tobago. If you look in that area.
Okay.
It is in between Martinique and St. Vincent and the Grenadines,
There you go.
northwest of Barbados.
Ooh, they got some crazy looking mountains.
Yeah.
down there.
So this is called the Chairman's Reserve. Okay. However, there's this rip. Again, this is another box one, but it's called the Forgotten Casks.
Ooh.
And the story behind it, let me grab my little light here.
200 years old. And there was only a
What-
gallon on
What
it.
caught my eye was on May 2nd. So this is actually pretty recent. On May 2nd, 2007, St. Lucia Distillers had a major fire which destroyed our administration and blending facility. Mercifully, most of our distillery was spared, but we suffered significant problems with storage space for our casks. In the melee that followed, our cellar master, Mr. Cyril Mangal, was forced to find space for aging casks in the most unusual places. Having done so, the cellar team had a memory lapse and forgot some casks that had been late. This feels like such a marketing play.
That's right.
This was in the storage closet.
Yeah, well, because
Right.
every distillery / rickhouse that's storage cellar, they have fires all the time. Like, what is it with
Right.
all
it's
these
a
fires?
crazy flammable substance.
Yeah.
Suddenly it caught up. Oh, what?
But it says these casks were discovered 4 years later, and upon tasting, were found to contain a wonderfully complex rum. We then made a decision to offer this rum as a limited release. Due to the tremendous demand for the rum, we decided to deliberately forget.
What?
So this is not the original.
Yeah.
Now I'm disappointed.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
That's hilarious, though. Just don't pay rent on a storage facility.
Yep.
But anyways, that's the story behind this. Is they're faking forgetting them, but essentially, based upon forgetting from a fire back in 2007.
So how did they induce the amnesia? Did they just bludgeon the guy?
Remember, drink a lot of rum.
They were remembering to forget.
All right, stick it in there and then drink a pint of that.
Those 10 casks, and they made them drink a quarter of it.
You have to think though.
Oh.
You have that whole stem of islands, right? The whole like little line of islands that goes right from Puerto Rico down all the way through to Trinidad and Tobago, right? You have
Yeah.
that whole stuff. That's just it's such a touristy place that everything that comes from there, you have to just know they're just totally relying on marketing.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like we gotta go in, we gotta get people a story. We
Yep.
gotta, you
Yep.
know. It's fun though.
No,
You
as
know?
long as it's
Yep.
good. I don't care
Yeah,
what you put on the
yeah,
bottle.
this-
I don't care what you
Spaniards
say.
came in there, they burned the storehouse to the ground and forgot
In
those
2007.
casks in there.
Yep.
Yep. And then they left a bunch of gold coins in the ocean nearby, and
That would actually be a really great marketing idea. They're like, look, we're gonna
Spanish
set
coming
half
in.
this place on fire.
Yep.
Here's the story.
it's gonna be a bunch of dudes dressed as conquistadors. Everybody's just like, what's
And they're
going
just
on
like,
here?
no, trust us.
Guys,
Just age it.
cork
It'll
pop.
be good.
We have beautiful St. Lucia cork pop coming in.
Beautiful.
Ooh, you
Indeed.
almost got some backsplash in that thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Had a little bass to it.
I'll lick it off
Nice.
the mic later.
This is also now I'm kind of intrigued because it says pot and column still blend.
Well, wait,
What is that? Are we getting into that?
Oh, yeah. If we
I
want to
mean,
explain that, we can explain that.
why the mix?
So
You know, that's interesting.
coming up with some random figure, about 90% of every spirit is distilled twice, at least, sometimes 3 times. That's first. Well, obviously, talking to whiskey, you make it into a beer essentially, and that beer is going to be around that 5 to 7% alcohol percentage. And then the whole point of distillation is to strip out what you don't want and then raise the proof or the alcohol. Usually that requires 2 runs. The first one is called the stripping run or the low wines. And thank you. And that'll bring it to about the teens to 20% ABV. And that just means that they dump it into a pot still, they watch it, make sure it doesn't burn anything, and collect everything. The second time they do that, that's going to be your spirits run, your stripping run, or not stripping run, but your that's where you're going to make all your cuts. So if it's a pot still, they'll put everything back into it. Then when it starts to collect the first spirits, those are going to be super high proof. They're all going to be referred to as head cuts, and that's where all your not methanol, but there's certain type of chemical compounds that come off, and that's where the old timey like you'll go blind from bad moonshine comes from.
Sure.
Is because if you collect and drink certain things, they will make you go blind. Mm-hmm. And that's all in the heads, the first cut.
Sure. Makes
so,
sense.
And a lot of the times the distiller can tell by smell when that transitions into the next cut, which is referred to as the heart's cut. And that ranges from, slightly lower proof, about the 60%, 70% alcohol. And that'll go down to, depending on what's going on, as low as like 30%, depending on how much they want, into the last cut, which is referred to as the tails. And the tails doesn't have anything that's going to kill you, but it's got a lot of the heavy flavor profiles from. That's like a lot of times if you get a heavy Islay Scotch, that's where all that meat and smoke comes from, is from the last cut. So traditionally you have 2 stills. You have the stripping run, which just boosts your alcohol percentage, and then you have your second one, which is where you're purposely making cuts and looking at trying to make a certain flavor profile. And then usually whatever you don't keep, you can put back into a still, save it for later. But so if they're doing, the Appleton, I forget, one of them was doing 3 stills, so they're doing 2 runs in the pot still. Pot still traditionally just keeps a lot more flavors because it's not as technically advanced as a column still. A column still could also be a continuous still, means they can pump as much as they want and keep pumping it through it. And what you're doing, instead of pumping it through a pot and collecting it, you can choose at what point in the column still where you want to pull from that spirit.
Right, okay.
Because it forces all of the spirit through these plates, a bunch of these copper plates, like a filter.
Yeah.
And the higher the column still and the more plates to go through, the more it'll take as far as flavors or bad, heavy compounds. But it also makes the alcohol a lot higher too.
Okay. Which is why they have the glass on the outside.
Right.
Because then they can see.
Yep. Where it's at so far.
That's cool.
Very
cool.
Do you happen to know why alcohol makes you go blind?
Well, it's not the alcohol itself.
I do have an answer.
Yeah.
But
of course, the medical guy.
The radiation collects in the thyroid. And,
then you're
I've heard it, but I
glamorous.
forgot. No.
I'm gonna say it's the absorption of the nitrogen part of the chemical that gets sent to your irises, and then it essentially makes them more dense. You can't see through them anymore.
You're close.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically alcohol is poison, as you all
Right.
know. Right.
Yep.
It damages the liver. If you have something with too much of an alcohol concentration at one time, it can damage the liver so much that the liver sends a specific toxin through your blood that can damage the optic nerve.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And specifically the optic nerve.
Right.
So
Pretty cool. Yeah. So what other toxins does that work? Will that work? Pretty much that's just liver failure. That's just a sign of liver failure.
Yep.
I love how we just trust that the distiller
Yeah.
What'd you put in that bottle? Let's taste it.
Yeah.
Like, did you get that stuff out?
Do you know who does an excellent visual demonstration and explanation of that whole process?
I hope it's
Is the TV show Moonshiners.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
They actually have an excellent graphical
Really?
representation that's easy to follow, and they, little diagrams, like what's the TV show MythBusters style sketches where it like quickly draws what it looks like, and
Yeah.
and you have these people with thick Southern accents explaining how distillation works, and you really only understand about half of what they're saying, but
they're right.
they're right, and they know what they're doing.
And the link of that YouTube will be on this pod channel. And that's the only way you can find it.
Only way.
I was just doing a little bit of, I don't even know if you could call it background research, but I was reading somebody's post on Reddit talking about
In-depth research.
their distilling experience with rum. They had been trying to make their own rum, and they're talking about how they couldn't get the right flavors, and some of the replies were talking about how a lot of the more flavorful notes came from the heads and the tails.
Yep.
And so knowing where to cut off and how much of that to keep in there, I guess I don't know if
It's usually done all by smell,
yeah.
which is pretty amazing.
Man, that's so subjective. That's amazing.
It is. And,
Yeah.
and this is where it comes to. And they're not necessarily doing it all standing at the still as it's coming off.
Sure,
'Cause what they're doing is, what you could do is, depending on the size, obviously, you just have different jars. And I've seen it. There's a wonderful channel and a guy from New Zealand called Still It, which he demonstrates home distillation because obviously it's illegal in the United States. But what he does is he uses recycled glass jars from various things, jams, pickles, whatever, cleans it out, and then every 15 minutes or so, it fills up that jar. He just sets it aside, and every 15 minutes puts it in a new jar. And then he'll collect all the jars, and he knows what order they came off.
Mm-hmm.
Then he'll go through them and smell them, and then start removing certain things. So he's not doing it all at the still, because obviously that would be under pressure
You
a
have to
lot.
stand there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's just more so giving himself a time limit and collecting samples, and then coming back later and making that decision. So I'm not sure what a bigger distillery does. It's probably something similar, but
Probably the same thing.
yeah.
I gotta tell you, when I
jars.
nose this, I can't help but think of opening morning of hunting season, and just being in the woods.
A morning dew.
Like this,
Yeah.
this is very woody.
Where is
Yeah.
this from?
It's like a clean wood. It's like fresh cut
Yeah.
wood.
Yeah, it does remind me. Like in the fall, I do lots of wood
Okay.
splitting, and it does have a split wood, fresh, smell.
It's kind of cool.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
Gives me an old
I don't-
cabiny vibe.
Yeah.
yeah. This is kind of what I smelled and drank this, and it reminds me of what most sipping rums. This is a more aggregate example of a sipping rum. Like the ones I've had before, taste a lot like this. This is super caramely, in both smell and taste. It's pretty oaky. It's lots of sugar sweetness, and it's not too thick, but it's just thick enough to be a differentiator between rum and other spirits. I think it's not as complex as the other ones and not as gentle, but I like how it's super, super duper fruity.
Yeah.
Like just
wow. What a
cherry,
rush.
yeah, cherry to the max, and that reminds me a lot of like this tastes a lot like Buffalo Trace.
The label said something about pineapple. Like a lot of,
Sure.
but
This
I'm
is-
not really
Man, the rush
don't
of
get
that
that a lot.
initial flavor
Mm-hmm.
just feels like a tidal wave. That's
It's
pretty
very
amazing.
it activates lots of the tongue,
Yeah.
all the taste receptors, and
It's fun.
it's full bodied.
This one's a lot more spicy than the last one.
Yeah.
This to me is one of the more complicated ones, in my opinion.
See, for me, I feel like this one does the spice better though, whereas like the last one, I felt like the last one may have been less spicy, but this one goes down smoother. So this one, I'm really liking this one. You know, it just feels like it's what I wanted the 2 5s that I gave to be.
For sure. I taste that, yeah. It feels like it's a good balance between kind of everything we've been doing. This is a really good one. Matt, what are you feeling?
You know, this one's very approachable. It is. I totally agree. I can see myself kind of sitting around the campfire, sipping on it, and going back to it. It's very nice. You don't even think about wanting rum and ice and Coke combination.
Yep. I like Matt's opinions are all about like the experience, you know? Like even when he mentions something about mixing it, it's for the sake of a purpose of what you're doing and not necessarily what it tastes like.
Yeah,
That's
I like it.
That's refreshing.
Heck yeah. That's why we drink.
That's why you drink.
That's why I drink.
Some people are.
I want the experience.
I just do it for the experience.
Some people are more the
experience.
functionality of alcohol.
The
than
functionality.
That is,
you know.
to
Man,
die.
it's
It's,
just-
it's
I just
poison.
don't feel as functionally.
the more it lingers, I'm
should
really
say the
liking
lack
this one
thereof.
a lot, actually.
Yep. I am
That's-
disappointed by this when I combine it with both the lime and the pineapple. It's not as good.
Okay,
It
sure.
actually loses a lot of complexity.
Okay.
Whereas the other one's got more flavors. This one is just vanishing. All that remains is the pepperiness and the fruitiness, which are good, but not. It loses all its full bodiness. The acidity actually cuts through the oiliness of this.
It
So
does, yeah.
you actually lose a lot of what makes this character. So that's too bad. But without those things, it's phenomenal. I really like this.
And it's only 40. It's at 40.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it feels like a strong 40, but you know, like a 41, 42.
Right.
But,
this is like a 40
Yeah,
and
it's-
a half.
yeah.
This is hot. This is hot.
Middle integer. But yeah, it's a fun one. So speaking of integers,
Yep. Speaking of integers, yeah, I'm gonna have to. I enjoy this the same. We didn't get money values for the other two yet, but I'm gonna say this is also a 7. This is still a 7, and I wanted to edge it to an 8, you know, but the rationale that like when it is an 8, that means that you know in 2 points this would be
10 is the
it'd be
best thing you've
perfect,
ever had.
and it's not. It's really good though, so I'm gonna say it is a 7.
yeah.
I didn't like this one as much, personally. I just don't think there was as much going on. Maybe I just wasn't picking it up as much. But I definitely agree with Zach when I had a little bit of like pineapple, anything else. Just any sort of flavor complexity kind of just got lost, which would make sense. Pineapple's really overpowering. But on the label, it said something about hints of pineapple and vanilla, and
For sure.
so I was like, oh, maybe it'll bring something out, and it didn't really. But yeah, I don't know. I'll give it like a 5. Wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, the more it lingers, I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
For sure. That pineapple kind of feel. For sure.
So before I do my review, I wanted to say, what was the Ghana rum?
Guyana.
Or Guyana. Yeah,
Yep.
it's going back to
Matt
Ghana.
messed you up thinking it was
Ghana's
from
right,
African rum.
Yeah. What was the Guyana rum again?
To Jamaica, man.
With regards to what exactly?
What was it called? What was the name?
Oh, that was the El Dorado.
The El Dorado. Okay, so this one, like I keep saying, is it's what I wanted the El Dorado and the Balcones to be when I first tasted it. I'm having a difficult time whether it just falls short of or whether it just edges out the Appleton for me, because the Appleton's at my top one so far.
Yep.
I think it just edges it out, and I'm going to go all the way up to an 8 for this one.
Nice.
I appreciate this one. Again,
Does-
sipping in the context, but I would give it a 6
Hmm.
from my viewpoint of it.
What about if you were sitting around a campfire?
I was gonna say this
Would
is the
it
one
be-
I'd buy you.
Yeah.
I feel
No,
like.
I like it. It's a very good sipping one.
Yeah.
But again, my default is going to be rum
With
it.
You can't just keep going back to that.
We were at
It's
6
like-
rums, and he's
It's like
still.
doing a wine tasting, and he's
Still
like, I
forcing
could really go for a Bud Light about now.
God, I love it. I love it so much.
It's like
I like it very much.
we
but
we ought to have been combining always with Coke just so you could give an accurate score.
We should have. Yeah, hold on.
That's post cast.
Yeah.
We're literally gonna mix all of these with Coke and then retaste.
There you go.
You know what? It's too good to mix with Coke.
We'll do a blog about
Oh,
it.
whatever.
I'm
You
just saying
would
what
mix
I
it.
default with and what I like is ice and Coke.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
For sure.
You are entitled to your own opinion, even when it's wrong.
Yeah. I guess my thought on it is it's a little bit more interesting than the parrot one,
Dorley's.
It's got some pepper to it. It's got some spice. It's still got that super vanilla, super caramel. Got a lot of oak influence. It drinks. If I had to guess on the percentage, it does drink hotter, not because the alcohol is overbearing, but just because it's got more flavors to it that are more potent. But I still prefer the Appleton over this. So for that, I'd give it a 6.
Nice. Yeah, that's some good comments. I like the body on it. I gotta agree with Zach on this one. Like, it's I just want to go back to the Appleton all of a sudden and just go like, okay, let's do it again.
We do that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
we're
I
like,
do.
yeah, we
Yeah.
can. Totally
Sometimes.
But I really like this one. I think, again, marketing aside, whatever that whole spiel was, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about what happened with Luneman and this one, to say we put it out and this one we forgot about, right? And then here's what you get out of that. It's kind of cool. But I like this one a lot. I think it's well balanced. I think it's full bodied. And for me, it's a 7 for sure. Like, no questions asked. Like, it's what rum should be, in my opinion. Like, slightly sweet, full bodied, sippable, at the right alcohol level. I'm impressed by it, actually.
I feel like this is our most split review yet.
Yeah, we've been pretty close for the most part. And this has the most favorites and least favorites.
Yeah.
Okay, so this last one,
How much
I'm
was
very
the other
excited.
two?
Oh, the other two.
The
Well,
pricings.
I'm not going to tell you until you guess, because I am
Sure.
curious.
Okay.
So
60
let's
bucks.
talk about the El Dorado first. Again, this is the 12-year.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop my ranges.
$85.
Have you learned from past mistakes?
Yeah, I'm not usually one that does learn from past mistakes, but in this case, I'm gonna say it was like $42.99.
Wow.
5% tax.
Wow.
Nick, what you got?
I wanted to just double back on $45. I'm just gonna stick with that.
Hunter.
$586.60 divided by 10.
Divided by
58.60. all
58,
right.
66.
And the closest to the retail price is Matt.
$38.
38.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess 37.
44.
You went all 40
All right.
all of them? Like, is that, like, they're not going to guess up and down? If you
No, they've no, the one was 22.
what, did you go over 40?
That was the.
We're not done yet.
Did we say what the
Just-
Lumen was?
No,
as
we
well
didn't.
as
We did not.
Yeah, the Loonman.
30.
20 bucks.
We gotta guess. We
That's-
gotta guess on
I
that
think
one.
that's gonna be more because it's from Minnesota.
I mean,
and they
it's
had
yeah,
to import
it's
the
local.
local.
They can't charge that much for
They
that one.
would, because it's organic.
I'm gonna say $35.
It's organic.
I'm gonna
They're
say
gonna
it's
up it the price.
30 on the dot.
32.
I think they're crooks.
Well, what's the price?
Lower price because it's organic.
I'm gonna say $20.
20 bucks. Okay.
Well, they upcharge.
Maybe
for
25.
organic.
Dad, what do you think the price is?
$28 for the Lude Man.
28 for the Lumen.
$24.99.
I
24.
said 25. Let's go.
No, price is right. You're over.
Yeah.
by a penny.
yeah.
Sit down, son.
Do they do tax?
No, we don't include tax. That makes it too difficult.
Yeah. We also don't account for the fact that any liquor store could charge whatever they want for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this last one, how much for this one now? This last one, you think? Remember now. Memories.
12?
Fires.
12? Or no, see.
37.
What was the age on that last one? The Chairman's Reserve.
The cast. Actually, here's the thing.
Non-age
No,
stated.
non-age stated.
Right. But on average, 8 to 11.
Yeah, but it's marketed that way, so I'm going to say it's $53.
Oh, let's see.
Stick a trusty $45. That whole marketing spiel, they're gonna up their price.
It's got a box.
It's
Yeah.
got a box. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, the logo is super nice too. It reminds me of like a Law and Order episode. You know,
What part of the Law
Such
and
a
Order
nice
episode,
logo.
though?
well, like,
Hold on. Let's flesh this out.
The-
What
the-
part of the Law and
I
Order
don't know.
is
I
reminding
just
you of this?
It's
it's like
when
a
it goes
case,
bum,
it's like a
bum,
case
and that's
file,
what he- that's what
right?
it
It's like a
is.
case file. The forgotten cast.
Special Victims Unit?
Special Victims.
Yikes.
So I'm gonna guess like 30.
Where the-
I'm gonna
Whichever
guess
one
38,
Justin
38.
Bieber was in, and he got shot like 12 times.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
Shut up. He was on an
Yes,
episode.
he was. And then
Get outta
he
here.
pulled a gun on the cop, and they were like,
What?
"Put the gun down," and he was like, "No," and then they shot him like 15 times.
Okay.
No,
He's
that
dumb.
was a movie.
I gotta look
thought.
that up.
Nope, it was a show.
It's fan
Okay.
service,
It was a
whatever
show.
it was.
I gotta look that up. That sounds amazing. Matt, what do you got?
$38.
I'm gonna say 40. I like 45 sounded right to me, but I'm gonna say 40 to be different.
We're doing the Chairman's Reserve, right?
Yep.
Make sure I get this correct here. $44.99. I paid
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trusty $45.
Now I will say, they had 3 of these. This is the Lost Caskets,
Oh,
or I should say the Forgotten.
The Forgotten
Casket.
Cast.
Sounds
Yeah.
so much better than Lost, right?
Yeah.
Like, Forgotten is like, oh yeah, we know where they're kind of at, but Lost is like, whoops.
crap. we put them on a truck. Like, we don't know where they went.
Yeah,
Whoopsie
like,
daisy.
Yeah. Crap.
um,
They're just supposed to go to a different distillery. They lost them. We found
yeah,
them.
this was actually $5 more than their regular one. So now I'm actually kind of anxious to try
Curious,
the
yeah.
other one.
You should just be
See what-
lost and
see what
found.
happens
I
there.
can't believe there's no rum over $50. Like,
Yeah.
12-year age-stated stuff.
I
So
know.
I've seen-
That's why I'm excited. Like I was like, I want to know, but yeah, so far so good.
I have seen Foursquare cask strength single barrels for
Yep.
like $100.
But now I'm like, that's
Not
not, worth
personally.
it. Now I'm like, there's no way it's double as good.
bro.
Like, come on.
That's crazy.
No way.
Before we get into the last one, I'd like to take a break. Actually,
It's cool with me.
purely out of just
All right.
it's been a build up, and I think you're gonna enjoy this last
Nick,
one.
do we have
Next
any
time
words
on Whiskey
from our
House Pub House podcast, we will finish with the ultimate rum of all time, as per Shamian saying. He
Bacardi.
said it's the best
it's-
one.
It's first of all, I haven't had this one, but based upon comments and based upon just what's been said, like again, just things that have been said, I think this is gonna be a fun one.
If Reddit said it was good,
Banana 99?
it's good.
Do you think we could get like the voiceover guy who did like the Monster Jam commercials to like hype up this bottle?
Next time.
Be there, be there, be there.
Sunday.
Saturday.
Because yeah, I'm not even gonna say it. You'll get it when we get back into it.
All right.
Break.
Right.
Welcome back. We're back from our break, ready to take part in the final rum we have for us. Shamian has built it up to be a special experience, and we're all very excited.
I gotta say, like the build up, honestly, is from the comments. When I again started to just get into the rums, I've heard 4 names: Worthy Park, Hampton, Foursquare, and Apple Estates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. you've dropped Foursquare multiple times,
Mm.
so due respect. We have an official Foursquare exceptional cask.
Casket.
What was this, a movie?
Mm-hmm.
Take two. Anyways, this is what's really cool about this is, from my understanding, Foursquare doesn't have a website. They don't promote
Advertise.
and
Don't
stuff,
put it out
right?
there.
They're just like, we're gonna do the thing, and
Yeah.
huge respect to that.
Right.
But like, you go to the forums, you do the thing, and Foursquare, I'm sorry, it's a terrible name, but still, it's been around since the 1700s, right? Like, it's awesome, the story behind Foursquare. This master distiller, he puts out just multiple Foursquare, again, sort of like the Glen line. But there's a series that is fascinating that caught my eye, and they will either do it by certain years or they will do it by certain names. And he is very selective in his process. Like, you talk about how just keeping an eye on it. This guy keeps an eye on it. Like, massive award-winning type thing. In fact, if I may, it just talks about here that the exceptional cask selections represent the unique and rare offerings of Foursquare Rum Distillery that Richard, the master distiller, fourth generation trader distiller of the R.L. Seal and Company, who owns Foursquare. His projects are only released when he feels they are exceptional quality. Usually the one-of-a-kind expressions available only for a limited time, showcasing truly unique approaches to both rum blending and maturation. Maturation. Felt kind of weird, so I'm just gonna go with maturation. All right. So this is a collectible, actually. Right now, this is the fourth in the series.
Ooh, I'm excited about this.
This
Dylan
is
loves
called
collecting.
Yeah. We're not collecting, but I after reading about all of this, I'm like, I kind of want to collect these now. But this, again, is the fourth in the series. And the one that started out, I debated between these two today. There was the 2009, Foursquare 2009. This is the second one, the Foursquare Indelible. Okay. And the other ones is called Sovereignty and Isonomy. Like, the dude is like crazy about just going, here's this release and here's the story behind it. Now, the story behind this one is actually, I just read this and I was like, oh my God, I want to know what this tastes like. A blend of two distinct single blended rums, both 11 years of age. One aged 11 years entirely in ex-bourbon barrels, and a second double barrel maturation aged 5 years in ex-Zinfandel, then 6 additional years in ex-bourbon barrels. Bottled at 48% ABV, 96 proof. No sugar, no flavor, no filtration.
All right.
So the first thing is, what is Zinfandel?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Zinfandel,
wine.
the wine.
It's a wine.
Yeah,
What's-
Zinfandel wine.
Why is it in a
You want to
barrel?
pass that around real quick?
What is what in the barrel?
Wine.
Aging. Transportation.
Aging the Zinfandel, yeah.
Yeah.
But I read the Zinfandel and I was like, what the heck?
So what is
thought you said
Zinfandel
infidel.
as far as a
Region.
category in wine?
Mel, do you have an answer for that? Mel is our wine expert in this household. What is Zinfandel?
It's a grape.
So it's a grape species?
Yes.
Okay.
Who's gonna do this?
So here's the thing, like, I love a good Pinot, right? Pinot Noir.
Oh.
Grigios are great. I don't like Zinfandels.
No,
Correct me.
you do. You do not
I
like
do?
white Zinfandel, which is a very cheapened white version of Zinfandel. You actually really do like Zinfandels, but you had a bad reaction.
I had an allergic reaction
But you
to an Australian.
you like Zinfandels, and you've had good Zinfandels that you really like.
Okay.
So you've had reaction to a
I
species
was
of
not
grape,
there.
Yeah.
I was
but not
told.
every grape.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cork pop.
Yeah.
That might be one of the better ones yet.
So this again, this is part of a collection series, exceptional casks, which automatically, right? This is the most expensive one I bought.
$49.99. Calling it right now.
Sure. But what I love about it is that again, the guy has a vision and he goes after it,
Yep.
and it's years.
Yep.
And he's very like, I'm gonna try this.
Mm-hmm.
5 years go by, 6 years, and he's like, oh, okay.
Yep.
I guess I'll release it, or maybe I won't at all. That's amazing.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
You think of some like Scotch distillers, when they age one of their expressions over 20 years, and they weren't like the amount of career it takes to become a master distiller is 40 years of experience. So by the time you're 40 or 50 or sometimes 60, and then you get to start making your expression, and then 20 years after that or more, then you get to taste it. It's a once in a lifetime thing for you as the person making it. And that's why I think a lot of people a lot of distillers are so driven by it, is like, this is my capstone to my career.
Yep.
And for Scotch, it's 20, 30 years, blah blah blah. For rum, it doesn't have to be the best version of their expression, but
Yeah, because they're going after a different thing.
yeah,
in a
different thing.
sense.
But
Yeah.
when all I'm saying is like the amount of heart and love they put into
It's impressive.
this, the energy they can put into these things is everything they have.
Yeah.
'Cause they're like, this is my investment through time. It's not my money.
Yeah.
It's not my sometimes it's not my family.
Yeah.
It's my liquor.
It's crazy because you think about like master chefs, right? Like 20 minutes later, you're going to be able to taste it and go, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, these guys are years, and they're going, I'm going to make a collection series, and I'm going to do these different things. It takes a lot of vision, a lot of trust from the distiller. That to
wonder
me,
what his
that's a
notebook
really good
looks
art.
like.
That's cool.
Right. They're
Sorry,
note
what's that?
taking.
I wonder what his notebook looks like.
Yeah, right? Well, he's fourth generation, right?
Yeah.
So
he's getting
what did he
passed
inherit?
down.
Yeah. And then what do you go like if
He's
you think
got
about like
generations of tasting notes.
right, and then you go, do I trust those notes or not? Or do I taste something
Yeah.
different?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like
Do I want to taste something
You
different?
do the notes, or you read the notes as you're drinking the product, and you're like, I disagree. Like Grandpa got it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he didn't have the right idea.
Well, Grandpa was going through
mean-
his cocaina phase
Yeah.
at that time. We don't really trust those tasting notes.
So how do they determine the 40 years experience for master distiller? Because to me that almost seems, let's say 20.
I
21
threw
is-
40 as an example. But,
Okay,
but
I was
they
They
are old.
exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like you can't just be. I mean, I guess if you started a distillery yourself and you decided you were going to be the master
Right.
distiller,
Done.
Traditionally,
easy.
yeah. Traditionally, it's a role that's been you've been asked. It's like you'll start off as a, in Scotland or something, or even in the United States. It's until very recently it's been an actual job, like something you can seek out. With the amount of distilleries that are opening up, that's a feasible thing you can search for. Before, that was not the case. It was just
It was a mixture of heritage
yep.
and lineage and education.
Yeah.
You can't. A doctor goes to medical school for 8 years; they're a doctor.
Yeah.
Distillery is not really time based, but you need to be essentially next in line.
You would be apprenticed
Yeah.
for 5-10 years or whatever, and then at some point you would take over for that position, and that's just how it was.
No.
And usually you would just get like, you're the distiller's son or someone else that's been there a little bit that shows interest, but it's kind of just you fall into it
Yep.
type of thing.
But the point being, like, you have so much career buildup, you really want to make this one count. For like, you might have made a lot of brews or stills or drinks that were for money. You know, you made them to sell because that was the point. That's your job. And then you make one for the love of the game, the love of the art, your expression. And that you just can't do that with schooling or that sometimes just experience. You need that hundreds of years of knowledge on your shoulders to make what you want a reality. And so you're relying on the legacy essentially of everyone before you, and then your own personal experience to make the best possible dream. And it's not everyone gets to do that, because some people, I mean, we were watching a documentary and some people die before their final expression is done. So
Did you ever see Mr. Holland's Opus?
Yes, a long time ago.
When he's writing the orchestra, I'm sorry, it's too funny. Richard Dreyfuss, people, come on.
Google it.
God, I'm old.
But
Anyways, what do we nose on this thing?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk to me about this, because I've got some ideas, but my goodness. Somebody.
this is the most bourbon-like yet.
so dense.
I'm thinking Oban, like, give me a break here. Like,
Oh, the Highland.
yeah, this smells. When I open a nice Irish whiskey, this is what I'm smelling. I'm smelling something that is. This is very light, first of all, but talk about well balanced and fruity, and just man, this feels good.
So I mean, this is. I was thinking this is how much your subconscious influences you, but I'm smelling it. I'm like, oh man, it smells like maybe like a wine finish or something. I'm like, oh wait, we said that it had a wine finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does smell like some sort of wine finished. Having no experience with that type of grape variety, because don't spend much time in wine.
Most grape varieties.
Or most grape varieties.
Yeah.
But it does, it has a different smell that is present than any of the other ones before.
I mean, of all of them where I disagreed, where Dylan said it smelled like sulfur, and I said no, this one smells like sulfur. to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's the stankiest. Well, it's not the stankiest, but
And that would be the wine if
it's
it
this
if it
one.
was there.
Yeah.
I totally feel
Yeah.
the white wine refreshment, but to me, it's a very positive, exciting way.
And I guess
don't know.
I'm not. I shouldn't speak for Zach, but whenever I say sulfur, it's not necessarily in a bad connotation. It's just
Sure.
a observation, because I dig Isla whiskeys, and sulfur is almost always present, so it's not a negative thing. It's just a neutral observation of like, hey, this is a little bit of a stingy sulfur note, which to me is like a little bit zingy on the palate, almost acidic, but
Zingy.
zingy.
What are you feeling over there, Hunter?
Trying to process it still. It is interesting though, because when you talk about that, you're like, sulfur doesn't always have to be in a negative way. Because like when I think of sulfur, right, you always smell it. Like I grew up going to Yellowstone all the time, and so sulfur for me, even though it's sometimes disgusting smell, it's like it brings me back to a place that I love and have explored throughout my life. So it's like every time I smell it, it's a positive light. So when I get that from this, it's just it's like you said, it's a positive way. I think this is it's this one's up there. I mean, it might be my favorite so far.
It smells like the girl at the graduation party.
Yeah.
Smell like sulfur.
Oh, by the way, I
No, to me it smells just spring fresh. It smells pretty. I don't know. I'm just gonna say that.
You
It
smell
does.
What
good.
was this, whose graduation party was this?
Yeah, wait. Let's get one.
It's an analogy, all
There's
right?
a lot
No,
of
no, no,
memories
no.
tied
There's
in with
history behind this
graduation
question.
Party here.
Get out of here with that.
Yeah, you
There's-
brought it up.
There's history.
I have a
I'm
worse
using it
experience.
as a metaphor to just say, like, the excitement that you have. Like, to me, this smells like a change in your life, a positive.
We're getting deep, guys. We're getting real
Yeah,
deep.
this is very philosophical.
It's
But I'm telling you
analogies.
though, like,
Smells like,
when I think of those other ones, right? I think sweet. Again, it's the
They smell like the other girls
you
from
expect the
graduation
vanillas,
party.
you expect the caramels, you expect the bananas, the pineapples, etc.
it smells
But
like
this-
prospects.
You know, we
This
play
to
a lot of
me
softball at
smells
graduation
fresh.
parties.
It smells like prospects of
Miss those softball
of some
games.
sort of nursing job up in Alaska.
This is like
I have to
I
say
don't smell the sulfur at all, actually.
with
Yeah.
so with the graduation party, I just have to share this because it brings it back, right? You keep talking about graduation parties. You were like, oh, we danced and she gave me a number. It was a false number.
Graduation party?
I have to share this because
Moon
it's
Man.
so funny. No, Shamian's experience.
This is a callback.
So at my graduation party,
Metaphor.
I danced with someone all night. Just wonderful night. Autumn knows the story. She moved out to the West Coast with a guy 2 weeks later.
She moved where?
She moved out. She moved into out to the West Coast with a
Was
guy.
your
2 weeks
dancing
later.
that bad?
I don't know.
Drove her to the other.
It's got 2
I
right
just
feet.
just
Yeah.
left with
Left
some
feet.
guy. I was just like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
You were used, man. Have a sip.
Just a footnote in there.
I just thought it was funny because I was
Story.
just like, graduation parties back then. You think it's like, it's so fun. and
Yeah.
everything, and it's
Well,
like-
that's what I'm saying. Think about that experience, right? You don't know anything.
yeah.
It's very social. There's likely other people there from other places that you've never met, and it just feels energizing. You're like, man, life starts now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, is that feeling of just like, sweet, next stage. What do you got
Yeah.
for me? Like
Yeah.
Mario World 4-1, right? Like
Yeah.
just, I
gotcha.
just, yeah. I killed Bowser, I made it through the 3 levels. I'm ready to
You,
go.
you
Let's
didn't
do
catch
it.
me until that analogy, and then I'm on that analogy.
I completely understand.
Okay, I get it.
But from all these other ones, again, I think of there were some that were like, I could categorize that classic rum. Other ones I could go, that's interesting. Not really sure what to do with that. This one is, again, I go back to the Oban feeling when I first tasted that. Those super just nice choice whiskeys,
Yeah.
and I go, that's what I smell. I feel that refreshing, eye-opening way.
Yeah, obviously there's a reason why this is well known and it has made its mark on the category as a whole. Obviously, I mean, it's obvious for me this is my favorite. Partly because I've been looking forward to a Foursquare. But yeah, I did add a little bit of water to it and it did change it. But I preferred it without water. It was a little bit more complicated without the water, and it added it, and it kind of made it more generic.
This has the most barrel infused flavor. I mean, it has so much port, so much oak, still into complexity. It is hard to describe just because you actually can't pick out that many notes because they all kind of melt together in that sophisticated way.
And they're all sweet notes.
And they're all
too.
sweet notes too. So it's like it has like molasses and
But not overly.
yeah, but no.
No.
It's
Talk
like-
about
no.
balance,
No.
right?
Yeah, that's
That
the
is-
balance.
But it's almost like it's splitting hairs because the port transition. Well, not the port, but the wine finish transitions into the caramel. The caramel transitions into a vanilla, and then it's like at what point there's no hard differentiating lines, and it's all just a blend. So it's like you can tell where the middles are, but it's hard to figure out where it starts and ends because it transitions so perfectly into a different flavor.
I also like how this is the perfect amount of oiliness. Like it just
This is probably one of the first ones that actually I would say it does have an oiliness to
Yep,
it. 'Cause
it's-
all the other ones are very
the one described itself
Yeah.
as viscous. Was that the
for sure.
unaged one? I can't remember, but this one is the appropriate viscosity. I mean, it's got. You look at the glass, you can kind of tell it.
Yeah.
It has a little bit of water, tension.
some legs
it's
there.
got tension
Look at them
surface.
legs.
Yeah, it's got legs, and yeah, really, really great. This is a great one. I think it's the best one so far.
Yeah, the mouth on that is like,
it's unlike the other ones.
that is.
Yeah.
The
That's-
Appleton would be the closest
Yep.
for me.
It's actually not even. It's not my favorite scent. I don't get a whole lot of like enjoyment out of just the smell. And then you drink it and you're like, okay, yeah, let's just. I don't even care about that. This was so good.
I find that actually a lot with. For me, it's always harder for me to find nosing
Yeah.
than it is for just a flavor. But it does seem like, for me at least, the more hard it is to find a complex nose to it, and the more dense it is, and the harder it is, for me, it usually turns out that the palate is just that much more
Yep.
full-bodied or present.
Yep.
And this is exactly what's happening to me in this case.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, like, what I really enjoy about this is the one that got it right with regards to the 48%. Like, that feels
Yep.
just right with these flavors. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What a crazy number.
Yeah. I mean,
It was.
For
I think it's
me,
a well-selected number.
yeah, number.
Yeah,
I think
for
48 is
sure.
good. I've always liked bonded bourbons and stuff. That's always 50. It's really good. I mean, 50% is a great number for alcohol. It has just the right amount of strength, the right amount of vapors for the scent, and it also isn't too much for the Balcones in comparison. It's too much. Too much oak, too much of that ethanol vibe.
Yeah.
This one dials it back, but it doesn't. Like Hunter was saying, it needed to be something different, right? It needed to be the next step. We got there. This is that next step.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can confirm that for me in his own opinion, but I think that's what this is. This is that elevated position where they made it. Like this is what we've been waiting for.
Yep.
Talk to me, Matt. What do you got?
It's nice.
Would you mix it with Coke?
Probably not. I would not feel.
I'll
Right,
pay you
about-
not to mix this with Coke.
I would not feel good about mixing with Coke. It's a very nice. Would rate up pretty high. But yeah, it's probably past my league.
Past his league.
League of
I
Zone.
think you woke him up when you asked him that.
That's right. As long as he's chilling, man.
Hell yeah.
What you got, Nick? What are you feeling?
Not a lot, honestly. I enjoy it. I kind of just piggybacking off what everybody else is saying. It's got that nice sweetness, but like definitely you can tell it's a little bit hotter, but it's got a lot more of a pepperiness to it. Like I swallowed a little and half inhaled it and almost coughed. Because it's peppery enough where it'll bite you, but I like it.
Fresh pepper.
It's good.
Hunter.
Brings me back to a 48% Akavit that I had 3 years ago. No. I'm just kidding.
Love it. Keep going.
Callbacks.
It's I don't know. There's not really a specific note I'm getting, maybe because I've tried 6 other rums by this point.
What
but
about, is there a grad party
stands
this
out.
reminds you of?
yeah,
Prom.
Or a club.
yeah,
Prom.
my wild years. No, I don't know. It just has something special about it, and
Reminds me of Alaska.
maybe it's because of the anticipation prior to drinking it, because like we've said before, the subconscious kind of plays into our flavors and our mindset when going into drinking a special beverage like this. So it just has something about it that stands out, and I don't know if it's the viscosity or the sweet notes or just how it's kind of a balanced interpretation of a rum, but I don't know. I can't say enough good things about this one. So.
Nice. Yeah, it's tough because it's like I try to stay away from the esoteric type of rum, but this feels like perfectly esoteric. Like, yeah. Like, give me the other ones. I kind of want to try those. I feel like collecting now.
Yeah,
Hit a
that's what it
pineapple
says.
after sipping that, by the way, because I just did, and holy crap. It was the best pineapple I ever had. There goes Matt. That's fun, though. Yeah.
Ratings.
Yeah, as far as
Ratings time.
Sure.
Okay.
14.
Yep. This is an elevated, a whole integer to 8. This is an 8 out of 10. It's there. Yep. It's huge.
I'll piggyback on that. I'll do an 8.
I'm just tasting this pineapple. It's very delicious.
Good pineapple.
I've already given an 8 out to the St. Lucius SVU rum, but I would say this is like I don't know. It's above that one, so I have to give it like an 8.5. I don't want to stick those because I can't go to a 9. There's going to eventually be a rum that blows me out of the water that I want to give a 9 or a 10, and I have to save those numbers because I haven't had a 9 or 10 yet. But this one is a solid 8.5.
8. Total 8. It's good. Like it.
Dylan's munching on something, so he can't quite speak.
Oh,
yet.
I can hear it.
Yep.
Chewing
Mixture
in
of
my
pineapple
Got
and
notes of
nuts.
pineapple,
Yep.
ears. And nuts.
dark chocolate, about 77% cocoa.
We just lost 4 women
I know.
listeners.
It's more than I've
we
lost
ever
before.
had 4 that
Yeah.
was
Our demographic
Yeah.
is
Oh yeah, the percentage.
it's being altered as we
better
speak.
to have had than lost or something. whatnot. I don't know.
As far as rum goes, that's like an 8.5 as far as my rum experience. That was really good.
No, that's one of the best sipping rums I've ever had. I don't know where you'd go. I know you, like I know you could get better, but I don't know how.
I'll tell you how.
I
Cast strength single barrels.
that is
Yeah.
that, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is, god dang, I hate to say 9, but man, where do you go from that? Like,
Yeah.
I want to spend some time on this one because, again, when I think of where I spend the money when it comes to a good whiskey, this is a dang good rum.
This should honestly the price
This
should
is,
factor in a little bit. Like you're saying, the bang for your buck.
Yeah.
This versus a whiskey of the same caliber.
You know
Like
what
you'd
though?
be-
But that's kind of where my feelings are going. Is
Yeah.
that
Yep.
I've got bottles up there that
Yeah.
I've paid more, and I would actually take this over that.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Like again, for a rum,
Oh,
this
yeah.
to me is pushing a 9, man, because it's just clean and done right. It's done really well.
Yeah.
If it's holding true as far as pricing being a little bit less than whiskey, I mean, to find a whiskey that's an 8, you're automatically pretty much paying over $100.
Remember the King Alexander?
The King Alexander?
What year?
It was unaged, not no age statement, but I mean that was about a $300 bottle,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, that probably was an 8, but you can spend a
$300 versus
It goes back to the rarity, the supply and demand making it rare. It's not because it is truly rare. It's just more of a supply issue. And I know Foursquare is a little bit more than most rums.
But even
so-
if it's pushing, even if it
Triple
was like
digits.
$75, it's still
Right.
75.
And that's
versus
why I think-
3
Well,
something.
even
again,
if this
you think
is
about what's an Obank cost, right?
Yeah.
$65.
I want to know where you shop.
Total Wine, Minnesota.
Yep.
Chanhassen right now. I just left last week.
He's upset.
I am upset,
He looks
actually.
upset.
Yep.
There's a couple though, but yeah, I just I don't know. Like, again, have had there's probably 15 rums up there at the top, and they go the boom bow. This is the first time I've really started to get away from the sugars and the spices and the things and go, what's happening? And I'm excited for this one. This kind of opens up. I want to go after the Worthy Parks and the Hamdens to see what happens.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. So if we've
Welcome to
all-
the world of spending your paycheck on
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
on liquor.
So what was the price?
Yeah, if we've all given
We
it
don't
a
know. We have to
score,
give ratings
You
first.
gotta give ratings.
Which
man.
I think
We
most
did.
of us
Most
did.
of us did.
ratings
Who
and
hasn't?
guesses.
It was only
Shamian
Shaman's.
gave
Yeah,
it a
well,
9.
I
said
lean
almost
at
We said-
8.5.
you said 9.
Yeah.
I'm with you on 8.5, leaning 9. Because I don't know where you go with this.
Yep.
Might as
Beyond
well
that,
just give
like
her the
where do you
9 then.
go?
You know?
It's That's a really solid.
Yeah.
And I think about the dude who's just working his life going, now's the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It'd be a pretty
Like you
sweet
think
gig
about
to do
the
that,
commitment
though.
on that, and
Yeah.
you go, I guess I'll trust that guy. Like, where do you go with that? So, anyways,
Price
where are you
guesses.
guys feeling? Yeah.
I made a joke that it was $50, and I'm just gonna keep with the joke.
Yeah.
Even though you were disappointed, you know, if you think Oban is better and that's 65, and you're disappointed, blah blah blah.
We thought Oban was more. So.
Right. Yep. I'm gonna say it's $50.
Okay.
Nick.
Yeah, I'd say 50 or 60.
Get closer to the mic.
I would say 50 or 60.
Thank you, Barry White.
I would say $70.
Let's go $63.
63.
I mean, originally I was gonna say 90, 95, because I know the Foreskers can be a little bit pricey. I'm gonna say 83.
I'm going to remind you, this is a collection series. This is not
$51.
51. Okay.
65.
All right. Like, this is not mass produced, by the way.
95. I'm going back.
110.
We're at 99.
99.
And that's actually,
Yeah.
like,
Wow.
cheaper in Minnesota for some reason compared to everywhere else that I found.
I stand by my previous statement,
But again, like, when I think of when I've spent that on whiskeys and stuff, I go, shoot, I'd buy this over that.
though. Oh, yeah.
You know?
But this is
I don't
over
know.
double the price of the Appleton. It's not
It is.
double as
And
good.
that's a good point.
But
is-
you know, but we're talking like we deal with this a lot, where it's like,
Yeah.
man,
It's a dilemma.
this is really good.
Yeah.
It's not twice as good, but you know, I'd probably still buy this one over the other.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's what I wanted to actually kind of do.
Yeah.
Was bring in, I mean, even that 22, like that's a
Yeah.
decent,
It's fine.
yeah,
it's
it's
good.
good.
It's good.
But that Appleton, yeah, again, like still around that $30 range, and you're like, sweet, you know, I'm just as happy. So it's
That whole
you know,
double as
can't have a
good
graduation party every
discussion,
year.
though, I feel like it's flawed from the get-go.
It is.
Because you
But how
start
so?
because
Because it's double the price.
No, because you start with, you have a certain price range with a certain selection of ingredients. And to move up from that, you raise the quality of your ingredients, so forth, so forth. So you get to a certain point where you're using the best of the best of the ingredients. So now it's all on what you're doing with them. And then it just becomes, your process. And I think it gets really hard to go, you've got all these different distilleries that are taking the same ingredients per se, the best they have available to them. And then they're doing all their different techniques to try to make them better. I think it just gets to a point where it's like, how can you make something twice as good that the other guy is making? Even though, the price points might be different, but I think once it starts getting up there, you're not going to have these like great leaps and bounds in quality.
Then why is it double the price?
It's all about what the consumer will
because-
buy.
Yes. Supply
Well-
and demand. And this guy, like you say,
I would say it goes
has
back
put-
to the guy.
Yeah.
Like again, like this is not something that they're just putting out.
Time is
this
money.
is a equation that this gentleman, who is well accredited, who is being entrusted to say, I've got others that you'll never know about, and this is the one I choose to put out, right? And so, yeah, I'll give you $100 for that. Thanks for your time, sir. This tastes great.
yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's again, but that's why we do this, right? Like, we do it because we want to know what it tastes like, and we want to enjoy it, and we love to talk about it, which is awesome. And so, again, thank you so much for coming to the Topeka Lounge.
Topeka Lounge. That's a great name, by the way. I love
But
that.
Topeka. I don't know why I pronounced that wrong. But anyways, maybe it's the 7 rums we've had.
Yeah. Hold on.
But Yeah,
99 bottles of rum on the wall.
it's been-
99 bottles of rum.
It's been a pleasure to have you guys, and again, always welcome many more varieties
Yep.
of things to try.
If I-
You're always welcome here. But appreciate you taking the time to just try the rums with me and go through this experience. And I hope that like you walk away with a little bit more education and just open mind to the trend that's occurring. I'm really curious to see what's
Absolutely.
happening in the continental US. Like what's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the same process as the whiskeys, right? But
Yep.
what are you going to do with it? There's so many things. It's pretty awesome. So again, thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us here. It's probably the nicest area that Zach and I have been able to crash.
I don't know when we did it. When we did it in that camper, I mean, that
We
was-
do it in the
yeah.
camper. Oh, that's right. The cabin for the $20.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hope the listeners enjoyed what we had to say and our opinions on it, and I hope everyone kind of walked away with a little bit more knowledge towards rum. And it's not our normal realm of expertise, but then again, nothing is. So, Zach, you got any final thoughts?
I think I've been converted. I came here not liking that many rums. There are about two or three tonight that I thoroughly enjoyed and would put on my shelf and be like, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna have this. Maybe not on the regular, but from time to time. I have a lot of that's the same category for me as like tequila, like sipping tequila. Like I don't really like drink tequila straight all the time. I have some that I very rarely, and I'm gonna add some rum to my shelf as well. So, thank you so much, you guys, for.
Yeah.
I
Glad to
want
hear.
I
That's
want to
awesome.
invite the two wonderful gals who have been helping us
Yeah, for
extremely to say a few words, if you want, because they have been keeping up with us this whole time.
Yeah.
Maybe you heard
They've
them
been
in
sipping
the
away.
background.
Mel, come on over
And
here.
I'm sure they have good opinions. So I
come
guess,
on over here, Mel.
do you want like a Q&A or do you want to just go off and tell us your thoughts?
Q&A would
Okay.
be nice.
First one, what was your favorite? And introduce yourself just really quick.
Yes, I'm Autumn. I'm married to Hunter. That's how I introduce
That's all
myself
there is
always.
to it, I guess.
No. For reference.
Mm-hmm.
My
I-
favorite was actually this last one, and then my second favorite was the Droolies, actually.
The Droolies.
Yeah.
Okay. And then second question, of these, given the budget in mind, which one would you buy and keep?
Probably the Droolies,
Droolies.
just because it was very good, and I felt like it was balanced, especially for $22. You can't really beat that.
And then this isn't the third question, but have you had whiskey, tequila, other barrel-aged spirits?
Yes.
What do you think about rum now?
I know more about it than I did before. I like it more than I did before this evening. I still prefer a bourbon.
Prefer bourbon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Autumn. Melody, would you like to? She's busy right now. Give her a sec. She's ready.
Hey, I'm Melody.
Hi, Melody.
Hi.
What was your favorite rum tonight?
Hey, I honestly could not remember. I do remember thinking that it was surprising that you guys really liked the Appleton. I thought it was a little sweet for me. I hated the white rum. I normally don't like white rums at all, but I do remember really liking the Chairman's Reserve. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah.
So
Second question was, I mean, you own these all, or I should say your husband does. I don't know if you shared in the expense. I'm sure you did. But if you had to only buy one, I guess in this case, which one would you buy and keep?
Oh, that's a good question. I would I don't know. I do not sip rums. So I would use probably one that I would mix, which I did like was it Droolies? What was it called? Dorleys. I thought that one was okay. I thought I could sip and mix that one.
And, yep, multifaceted.
I'm a whiskey bourbon sipper. So I love rums, but I love to mix them into drinks. So mostly.
Okay. And you kind of answered the third question, but we know you partake of whiskeys, scotches, and bourbons and others.
Oh yeah.
So has your opinion on rum changed tonight? What do you think of it?
No, nothing's changed.
Mhm.
I would say that we're pretty. Shamie and I have definitely tried our fair share of rums. I think that the biggest thing that I thought I learned tonight was that I thought it was interesting hearing your guys' opinions, honestly, as I was sipping along with you. Some of these ones that were just like so overpowering, like I thought they were like burning my nose hairs. You guys loved them. I thought it was so funny. I couldn't stand a lot of them, honestly. I would not sip most of them. But it was, yeah. I don't think my opinions changed.
As a whole,
Yeah.
on the category of rum.
Yeah, I love rum though. I
Right.
do love that.
Yeah, no, I think we've all decided that rum is good. Rum can be very good.
That's good.
And we are so thankful you guys were
Thanks
able
for
to
having
pour from.
Autumn
Of
and I
course,
along with.
if we had 8 mics, we would have for sure had you sitting on the couch with us
I do
But also
think
at
it's
the
And
same-
another couch.
and another couch.
Yeah, we need another couch, a bunch more mics.
Tear this building down.
Yeah.
We're gonna open
Rebuild.
this space up, just knock out that wall, this wall.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth mentioning. A little shout out to the Topeka Lounge. It is located west of Wisconsin and east of the Dakotas. And you can find it by having it recommended to you on Instagram. It will show up suggested. You don't need to look for it. It'll just be
It'll
there.
just be there.
Could you be any further from an island?
No, I don't think
I know,
so.
right?
We're,
Like-
we're
I saw-
dead shot
there's-
center in
Yep.
a continent.
Yep.
Depends if you're talking about freshwater islands. There's
freshwater
plenty of those in
islands.
Get
Minnesota.
out of here.
Oh, whatever. Get landlocked
Yep.
state here.
Yep. I saw a little graphic of level of landlockedness, and it's just category, like boom, boom, boom. So it's like green is 1 state, blue is 2 states, red is 3. We're like dark red, It's us and us, North Dakota and South Dakota
Represent.
Yeah.
are completely
Yeah.
just the farthest from the seas.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, Hunter.
Awesome. But thank you for coming. So good.
Yeah. Hunter, what's your final closing thoughts?
I just really enjoyed being on a podcast.
Isn't it fun?
I enjoyed talking with you guys, visiting about something I have little to know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like really sipping on much. I basically drink water, and that's pretty much it. I'll have a drink a week, maybe.
This guy
So
told
it's
me.
We made him
interesting.
drink all of it.
Yeah.
Well, no. I enjoy it. It's just not something I do. It's
Yep.
not something I do.
Yeah.
So it was fun to
Chug
just
the
talk
pour
about
out
something that I
bucket. Chug the pour out bucket.
Spit, bucket, spit, bucket, spit.
I mean, Autumn said that she got you into coffee not even that long ago.
Get
right?
out.
Yeah, I
What?
do. I like coffee now. I like having a wine every once in a while.
Yep.
But
You are so gentle.
Hunter is like water.
I kind of want to wrap you in pillows. Protect you from
He's
the
an
world.
angel. He's an angel.
yeah, I just I had a lot of fun. So
Awesome.
it was,
Glad you did.
Sweet.
It was good.
All right, Matt, closing thoughts?
Rum is good. Drink.
Drink.
We're gonna get some merch with that.
What is that? God is great, beer is good, people are crazy.
Drink.
Drink.
The end.
I like it.
Well, I think that'll conclude this episode. The special episode, the rum episode of
2 episodes.
the Whiskey House Pub House. Thank you. I mean, we're going to have to figure out something to do for the next episode that's just as interesting.
Cocktail
Aquavit.
list.
Cocktail list.
They have a cocktail
Oh.
list going, and I think it could be interesting.
I know what we're doing
Go
after the
through 'em.
podcast. But
They're
Aquavit list.
handcrafted
I'm gonna bring
Somebody
bring
said-
my bottle.
Tahitian
All right.
Yep.
cocktails.
Tequila was mentioned as a future.
Mezcal.
Tequila's good.
Mezcal.
Mezcal. Okay.
So, but we'll come up with something. So, thank you for visiting us on this episode of the Whiskey House Pub House, and we'll see you next time.